Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, July 29th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect partly sunny skies, possible thunderstorms, and a high of about 95 in San Antonio today. While President Donald Trump heads to West Texas today, hoping to focus on the oil industry and fundraise for his re-election campaign, he's also touching down in a region hit hard by COVID-19. Trump plans to visit Double Eagle Energy in Midland and tour an oil rig where he'll give a speech. 12 more people have died of the novel coronavirus in Bexar County, and 1,546 new cases have been identified, officials said Tuesday. Bexar County's COVID-19 death toll now stands at 335, according to the Metropolitan Health District. Also, please join us as the Express News editorial board this morning interviews superintendent from Northside, Edgewood, and San Antonio ISD about the upcoming school year and the plans for reopening. You can find a link to that conversation in the episode's description. And now, let's move on to the top stories for the day. You can find links to all these stories in the episode's description. Bexar County's criminal courts, effectively shut down for months by COVID-19, stirred to life for a few hours on Tuesday. Since June 15th, jurists have been able to whittle away at their trial dockets using Zoom video conferencing from retrofitted courtrooms that have clear acrylic shields and barriers separating the bailiffs, the judge, and court staff from defense attorneys and their clients, probation officers, and prosecutors to conduct proceedings while practicing social distancing. But there are things that can't be done online. Elizabeth Zavala explains more. Texas public school districts risk losing state funding if they shut down campuses solely in response to closure orders issued by local health officials, according to an announcement on Tuesday by the Texas Education Agency. The announcement adds another twist to the weeks-long debate over whether county government leaders can issue such orders. The TEA's announcement came hours after Attorney General Ken Paxton released a letter, which is not legally binding, in which he opined that state law does not allow local health authorities to order the closure of schools as a preemptive measure to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus. The reversal in the TEA's stance brought swift reaction, with at least one Bexar County school superintendent talking about a lawsuit. You can find out more at the link in the episode's description. Inside his parked SUV, with his head bowed, eyes closed, and hands clasped, Pastor Michael Steve Brown prays for patients suffering from sickness and the novel coronavirus. At the edge of the parking lot at Mission Trail Baptist Hospital, the pastor of True Vision Church prayed with his wife, Joy, for the well-being of everyone in the building. Brown's visits are part of a ministry called Pull Up and Pray that churches and individuals are practicing across the country. The couple said sister churches in Georgia, New York, and West Virginia have also taken up the mini vigils. Reporter Vincent T. Davis has more on that story. As she was rushed to North Central Baptist Hospital with some serious breathing problems from COVID-19, Kathy Peeler struck up a personal conversation with her fellow ambulance passenger. While in the hospital, Peeler kept up with her coworkers at Regency Manor Nursing Home in Floresville and also with the families of her patients there, making sure they were getting good care. And just before she was put on a ventilator and silenced, she sent out a flurry of final messages to her loved ones. 71-year-old Peeler, an ordinary woman with an extraordinary compassion for humankind, died Monday from COVID-19 complications. In her sudden absence, those who loved her now struggle to explain her uncommon character. To keep our readers up to date on the path of COVID-19, the Express News has built a dashboard of interactive graphics showing the spread of the virus in the San Antonio area, in Texas as a whole, and across the United States. We've also created an interactive map of San Antonio for COVID-19 testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find a link to the dashboard and the interactive map in this episode's description. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. The White House announced Tuesday it is rejecting all new applications from would-be dreamers as it considers trying again to end the DACA program just weeks after the Supreme Court blocked President Trump's last attempt to kill it. San Antonio firefighters could soon add an armored medical vehicle to their ranks, even as public safety agencies across the United States undergo scrutiny for increasingly using military-style equipment. The pastors of Cornerstone Church and several parents whose children attend Cornerstone Christian schools have filed a lawsuit against various local officials challenging Metro Health's order to close all public and private schools until after Labor Day. The Express News editorial board writes, decades of conservation work on the Padre Island National Seashore has reaped great dividends, like bringing back the Kemp Ridley sea turtles back from the brink of extinction, and should continue. An animal rights activist group and Texas Parks and Wildlife are now involved in the aftermath of an incident that killed 5,000 fish in the San Pedro Creek and the San Antonio River back in June after an ammonia leak at the Kielbasa smoked meats plant. San Antonio firm Casey Development is building an office project at the corner of West Sunset Road and Treeline Park. The Express News took a closer look in our Skyline series. The coronavirus pandemic has meant airlines are cutting back on direct flights from mid-size, non-hub airports like San Antonio. Our Wary Traveler series explores the new options for getting to some popular destinations. Columnist Chris Tomlinson writes, quote, Republicans and Democrats are facing off over how to spend economic stimulus to mitigate the coronavirus recession. Should it benefit the people or companies? The headline wasn't that a Miami Marlins player tested positive for COVID-19, writes Mike Finger. The real story was that the most important decision of the league's entire restart process so far was made by a bunch of 20-somethings typing on their cell phones. Coin collecting is a fine hobby, but not a good investment. Seeing his father's coin stash for the first time in 40 years reminded columnist Michael Taylor of a certain financial truth about bid-ask spread. It also led him to ponder important questions like, what's the difference between rare coins and Beanie Babies anyways? And now let's move on to the fun stuff. The golden-fronted woodpecker is San Antonio's original headbanger. They're nature's condo builders and so beloved they inspired the name of a San Antonio brewing company. The golden-fronted woodpecker is the latest subject in our series about local wildlife you might notice this summer, called Essays Common Critters. Citing the business effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, Smoke, Barbecue, Brew, and Venue owner Adrian Martinez said Tuesday was the final day for his St. Paul Square business before he shuts down permanently at that location. Rookie Keldon Johnson and veteran Rudy Gay combined for 44 points to lead the Spurs to a 118-111 win over the Pacers on Tuesday in their final scrimmage before the start of the 8-game seeding schedule. Somerset ISD is getting guidance from its legal team to see if its high school can begin sports practices on Monday, a month earlier than expected. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.